You've got Icy Veins open in one tab and Wowhead in the other. You've got a guide from someone with 500,000 subscribers and you've watched it twice. You know the boss mechanics, you know the rotation, and you know the stat priority. And you still haven't queued. I know, because that was me. And here's what I eventually figured out. The guides weren't preparing me, they were my excuse not to start. Today I want to talk to you about why everything you've been doing to get ready to raid might actually be the thing keeping you from ever doing it. Here's what watching guides actually feels like. It feels like progress, you're learning right, you're being responsible, and you're not going to be that person who doesn't know the mechanics. But there's a gap between knowing the mechanics and reacting to it. And no guide closes that gap for you, unfortunately. Think about it. You can watch every driving tutorial ever made, understand exactly how a car works, know the rules of the road like the back of your hand. And the second you sit behind the wheel in real traffic, your brain goes completely blank. WoW raiding is exactly the same. The guide tells you, move out of the fire, but when the fire appears, you're also managing your cooldowns, tracking your positioning, watching the raid frames, and reading the boss's cast bar. And suddenly, that fire is a very different thing than it was in the video. The only thing that trains your brain to handle all of that is doing it repeatedly, under some real pressure. Now, I'm not saying all guides are useless, because they're not, but they're actually the wrong tool at the wrong stage. Guides are a reference and not a foundation. Therefore, when you've already run a boss a few times and you want to understand why you keep dying to that one mechanic, therefore optimizing something you've already understood in your hands, but not quite in your head yet. Using a guide before you've ever set foot on the raid is like reading a cookbook before you've ever cooked anything. The words make sense, the technique descriptions are very clear, but you've got no frame of reference for what it actually feels like to do it, so none of it really sticks. The players you look at and think, they just know this game. They didn't get there by watching guides more than you. They got there by playing through the uncomfortable part where they didn't know quite what they were doing. So let's be honest what's actually going on here. It's not that you're not ready, it's that you're scared of being bad in front of other people, scared of wiping the group, and scared of someone in raid chat calling you out for it. And that fear is completely understandable. But here's the thing, every single person in that raid has wiped a group before. Every tank has pulled the wrong thing, every healer has let someone die to a mechanic they didn't see coming. And every DPS has stood in the fire they were absolutely certain they had moved out of. The WoW community, especially in normal raiding and local mythic keys, is far more patient than you think horror stories may suggest. Most people want a functional group, they want to clear content. And a player who's learning and paying attention is an asset, and it's definitely not a burden. The version of yourself you're afraid of showing up as, well, that's the version you can only get through by showing up. So here's what I'd actually recommend instead of watching other people play and using another guide. Start an LFR. It's low stakes, it's definitely forgiving, and it lets you see an encounter in motion. You'll die to things and that's absolutely fine. That is the point of it. Your brain will remember what it felt like and no video can ever replicate that. Ask a question per run, not in global chat, but in the raid group itself. What should I be doing during phase 2? And most people should answer. And the ones who don't weren't going to be that helpful to you anyway. Sorry. Watch the guide after you've done the raid. Once you've run it once and you have a specific thing you didn't quite understand, then go to the guide. Now the words should connect to something you've actually experienced and the information's going to stick a little bit better. And then finally, accept you'll be bad first. Not maybe bad, definitely bad. That's not failure, that's the process of working correctly. The people who improve fastest aren't the ones who prepared the most, they're the ones who started earliest and failed the most times. So, now you've watched every guide, you know all the mechanics and your build is solid. The only thing left is to queue. If this video gave you the push you needed, drop a comment and tell me when your run of your first raid is, or when you hit your first key. I actually genuinely want to know. And if you're already raiding and you recognize that one person I was describing, send this to them. They'll know exactly who they are. So, I will see you in the raid, or in the Mythic Plus key, or in a heroic dungeon, or even a normal dungeon. Be safe, and keep dungeoning.